G'day everyone, well, I'm in my happy place. No, not the Blue Mountains, but behind the wheel of my 300 TDI Defender. And today I'm going to go and drive the all-new Defender. It's got slightly more power than my 93 kilowatts and 263 newton meters of torque. It's got 291 kilowatts or something crazy like that. Is that right? That can't be right. Anyway, it does 0 to 60, no, what? 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds. I reckon my old thing will take about 6.1 days. Anyway, let's get out there and see how it goes. Well, I'm doing 100, 110 here now, and no shouting required. This thing is quiet, and it's quick. It's not just quick though, it's also super refined. It's really smooth on the road. It's got plenty of performance, and you get stuck into the tight stuff and have a lot of fun in it too. The vehicle we're driving here is an SE spec, and it is packed with technology. Electric power assisted steering, dynamic stability control, low traction launch, electronic traction control, roll stability control, cornering brake control, hill descent control, brake hold, all-terrain progress control. This thing's nothing like the old Defender, that's for sure. In fact, nothing like the old Defender at all. This thing's got a fully monocoque structure, it's got fully independent suspension with air springs, it's got height adjustment, all the mod cons. Not like the old girl. And the fact that it's not like the old Defender might upset some purists, but that's not what Land Rover is trying to achieve with this vehicle. With the old Defender ending production back in 2016, there's been a fair absence without a Defender on the market, and this new one will not be recognisable to anyone familiar with the old one. But there are some styling touches that pay homage to the old vehicle. The overall shape of the new Defender sees the wheels pushed right out to the far corners, so there's very minimal front and rear overhangs. And then there's a few design touches on the inside of the vehicle that pay homage to the old Defender, such as the open dash and the Alpine windows. And the interior of this new Defender is a seriously comfortable place to be. There's loads of space up front, plenty of adjustability for the driver and the passenger, and there's great width across the rear seat and a nice flat floor. There's also a huge cargo area and fold flat seats so you can stack long items in there pretty easily. And then there's the off-road tech like terrain response 2 and the 3D surround camera, and of course wade sensing. This thing's got a 900mm wading depth, and you can monitor that on the screen on the dash. And then as you exit the creek crossing, it'll even drag the brakes to dry them out. What you really want to know is what's it like off-road? Well, as you'd expect, any vehicle wearing a Defender plate is very effective off-road, and Land Rover wouldn't have built anything that wasn't. Obviously it's got electronic traction control to deal with all sorts of slippery conditions. It's got great low range gearing. It's got a very effective transmission off-road. It's got automatic centre and rear locking differentials, and of course the ride height adjustable suspension. The vehicles we tested on this off-road drive program were equipped with the Advanced Off-Road Capability Pack, and that includes all-terrain progress control and terrain response 2, and that means it gets configurable terrain response. This allows you to choose and select certain parameters and save them for later on. Well, at the start of this drive I didn't really get it, but now I'm really starting to get it. If you think of this Land Rover Defender as something like the latest generation Discovery, then you know, it's an awesome vehicle, both on-road and off-road. Sure, it's not a Defender as we know it, but that's not what it's meant to be. But it's a bloody beautiful car to drive, I can tell you that. It's pretty hard to explain just how good this thing is, like how dynamically good it is. On a twisty road, you know, it'd put many sports cars to shame, I reckon. It's got heaps of grunt, the gearbox works beautifully, the handling's superb. It's Sport mode, it just sharpens everything up a bit, gives you a lot more response. Body roll, well controlled. This thing is an absolute weapon on a twisty road, and as you probably know, they have tested this thing on the Nürburgring. And you might be thinking, well, you know, what's the point of that? It's a four-wheel drive wagon. Well, who says you can't have a bit of fun on the road too, eh? So finally, we get to drive the all-new Defender. It's been years since this one finished production, and it's taken a long time for this one to land in Australia. We've driven it both off the road and on the road, and wow, the thing is certainly capable on road. It's just phenomenal on the road actually. It's like a little sports car, but it's a big four-wheel drive wagon, a big seven-seater. And off-road too, not this one with these low-profile tyres, but off-road as well. It's still a very effective thing. The ones we drove had off-road rubber on them, and we did some pretty gnarly tracks, and it worked really well. I knew it was going to be a good thing. It's certainly nothing like the old Defender. This thing is just revolutionary. On-road, off-road, easy to drive, does everything for you, unlike this thing where you got to do it all yourself. So this all-new Defender, it's certainly nothing like the old thing over here. It's a technological masterpiece, and it makes four-wheel driving easy, and I think that's what's going to make it appealing to a lot of people.